The cassava plant is widely cultivated in tropic Africa. Nigeria produces 45 million metric tons of cassava tuber annually, making it the largest producer in the world. Nigeria Cassava Growers Association (NGCA), formed in 1992, has continually been at the forefront to improve the cause of farmers. Today, NCGA has over 1 million registered members involved in the production of these 45 million metric tons of cassava tubers. However, about 30% of the cassava tuber is underutilized, only to be left to rot. This is because the main staple food of Nigerians is garri and is usually processed through the traditional means. In 2013, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, through the Bank of Agric, signed an Article of Memorandum of Understanding (MOU) with NCGA to finance the cultivation of 60,000 hectares of cassava farmland in Nigeria. Today, NCGA is headed by national executives headed by the national president, Pastor Segun Adeomi. Others include Alhaji Abubakar Chike Aliyu, Vice President, Chief Sylvanus Eronde, National Secretary, Comrade Austin Maduka, PRO, Mr. Buruga Gage, National Ex-Official, Chief Femi Yerokun, Consultant to NCGA, Mr. Segun Ilori, Mrs. Mubolanle Olufunwa, Ex-Official. Also, the association, with its national headquarters in Akure, Ondo State, has a full-fledged administrative, technical, and financial structure from national to state and local government levels. NCGA's collaboration with government agencies has continued to yield positively. Ondo State government has granted 6,000 hectares, Dito Ekiti and Oyo State, pledging 6,000 hectares each. Negotiations are already taking place with Ogun State, Nasarawa, and Taraba State to acquire 6,000 hectares in each state. NCGA has continued to liaise and collaborate with international organizations such as International Institute of Tropical Agriculture (IITA), Cassava Adding Value for Africa (CAVA), Africa Development Bank (ADB), and a host of others. NCGA programs have been designed and accepted by federal and state government to empower the farmers and introduce youth cassava farming via bankable programs that assist farmers and youth to receive loans for cultivation and processing of cassava. By this, NCGA ensures profitable market for cassava products, ensuring income generation and self-employment to numerous Nigerian families and youth. These are done in collaboration with federal and state governments. Over 27 varieties have been released to farmers by National Root Crops Research Institute. Thus, over 1 million cassava farmers are self-employed as we speak. In 2013, NCGA facilitated a loan of 1.2 billion naira for our members from Bank of Agriculture. NCGA also delivered loans and grants for cultivation of high-quality cassava flour projects. NCGA is also embarking on establishing a microfinance bank which all cassava farmers throughout Nigeria can benefit from. As at date, NCGA has good working relationship with the following banks: Union Bank, Zenith Bank, United Bank for Africa (UBA), Sky Bank, Unity Bank, First Bank, and Bank of Agriculture. To this end, a 12-hectare land has been acquired at Oyin in Akure North Local Government of Ondo State. Fela Olorunmudimu is the chairman, NCGA, Ondo State.
This site we are here in is a proposed site for the Ethanol project, which we believe is starting very soon. On this land, we have over 12 hectares, which we can also say is over about 30 acres and 180 plots. So this place is well located. The soil test and the atmospheric condition, everything has been, the environment is conducive because some tests has been conducted, and we found that it's in the favor of the factory we're proposing.
Also, a large warehouse has been acquired.
For the purpose of this ethanol project, apart from the 12 hectares of land that has been acquired for this purpose and the 6,000 hectares given to us by the Ondo State government, for the purpose of cassava cultivation. We have also acquired this warehouse. You know, the warehouse is so big, as you can see. It can take, you know, the raw materials. It can take to the tune of over 3,500 cassava tons.
It is believed that once the ethanol factory is in place, additional source of employment would have been created for Nigerians.
There's some in this room who are fairly young, some are not so young. I think everyone can remember the time when a telephone was something that wasn't much in existence in rural locations. And to make an international call was, you know, from Nigeria was something else. You know, you had to go to the booth and book your call, and you know, it was a real nightmare. You know, I mean, today you can just pick up your phone, go anywhere in the world. Yeah. But much more than that, your phone is now a gateway to the world. Yeah. So that with your phone, the sort of things that your phone can do now, even a few years ago, if you mentioned it, people would have thought you were mad or you were, you know, on drink or drugs or something. But you know, we're witnessing huge, huge change. And it is that change that is enabling what is happening here. That change of technology is pervading everywhere. It's pervading all aspects. It's pervading medicine, it's pervading shopping, it's pervading everywhere. And that change has come to agriculture. And because that change is happening in agriculture, it is facilitating things in so many different ways. So for example, many farmers, many small farmers who are members of NCGA have never had access to banking facilities. The mobile phone is making that possible. Many people never had access to information as to what was happening. The mobile phone is making that possible. The last Minister of Agriculture, he implemented the program with regards to repayments of fertilizers, and you know, it's making a huge difference. So everything is changing so much. And from e-Debit, I'm very proud to be able to say that we have developed platforms that can actually help with that change. And a partnership with the Cassava Growers Association, an association of 2 million members, with cassava being such an important thing to Nigeria's economy, you know, it's if the Cassava Growers Association can implement technology within their operations, then what a fantastic thing, and that is happening. We thank God for that. But that change is not just technological, you know. It's change happening in other areas as well. I mean, we're seeing history be made, literally. We're seeing a whole chapter be rewritten. We're seeing the page turn. And the reason I say that is this. Traditionally, you had a situation where the farmers were the people who did the work, the backbone of industry, and the people who made no money whatsoever. You have a situation whereby in your average supply chain, you have 7 links from primary producer to end consumer. However, with the small farmer doesn't have the capacity to reach markets. So they have to depend on middlemen who don't add value. So the supply chain with a small farmer can be 12 instead of 7 links. And many of those links are additional middlemen who add no value, just making the money. And the small farmer who does all the work makes nothing, struggles to survive. That's not right. But that's what has been, that has traditionally been the case. With the people who deserve it the most getting the least. And the people who don't do much making a lot. And the real people who make the real money are the processors, you know, who are not even around. Okay. So when I say times are changing, the page is turning, what we have with this project is a vertical integration project. And the vertical integration project is one whereby the primary producers can own some or part of the processing. That means that instead of the profits being taken by the big by the big trading houses, some of the profits can now actually come through to the people who really deserve it, to the people who for hundreds of years have never had any real say in these profits, instead of being shafted left, right, centre by all these people who take a lot without adding value. Although having said that, some people add value, and the processors add value, and that's good. And where people add value and generally do the work, then yes, you have to give kudos to that. But we have a situation now where NCGA is amalgamating its members to actually own a stake, operate a subsidiary, and NCGA itself is adding value. And what that means is that the value is retained within the industry. The value is retained within the farmers. It means that instead of the profits going to swell the balance sheets of big trading houses, big subsidiary companies thousands of miles away, those profits can now be retained within the communities. It means that the profits can now help improve local infrastructure, improve the lot of farmers, make sure, help that people who work hard, who deserve it the most, get some of the benefits of their hard work. And that's why I say times are changing. And what we're witnessing here is a real revolution. And I don't think we can appreciate it right now. Because when these things are happening, you don't see. You just see things are happening. Then when you step back from the perspective of time, you can say, look, that was a seminal point. At that point, things started to change. And I believe that, I'm not sure when, but at some point in the future, we'll be able to stand back and say, yes, at this point, things started to change. At this point, NCGA, which is an excellent organisation doing great work for its members, went the extra mile. At this point, NCGA started to go in a different dimension, started to add a different dimension. And what NCGA did, that started in 2014, 2015, we're now in 2020, 2025, 2030, and we're seeing the rewards. We're seeing the fact that a lot of the small farmer, who are the backbone of NCGA, has improved. The lot of the communities in which NCGA farmers live has improved. And that's what I believe, by the grace of God, we will see. So, having said all of that, I'll now come to the actual program itself. I started by saying that things are changing and technology is helping to improve agriculture. But the question is, how? I don't know how many people here are involved in supply chains. How many people? Hands up please, anyone who's involved in supply chain operations? Yeah? Okay. So, logistically, supply chains can be quite a nightmare. You know, you have lots of different invoices, lots of different players, lots of different things going all different directions, and actually coordinating these programs can be quite a difficult thing. Administration can be quite a nightmare, but with technology, it is now possible to have economic communities that bring together all the different players, which makes life a lot easier as far as the administration is concerned. Online supply chain management, online administration is something that can help make life a lot easier in terms of simplifying supply chains, making them less complex. And anything that can reduce complexity must be a good thing because it's always money. However, more than that, what technology can do is it can actually help the process of disintermediation. Now, disintermediation is where the intermediaries who don't add value get squeezed out of the chain. And what I mean by that is this. If you have one small farmer who wants to sell their produce, they have so many difficulties. If they come together within the umbrella of NCGA and they can sell in bulk, they can sell as a cooperative, they can buy in bulk, then it makes life a lot easier. In terms of buying, if you have economies of scale that are actually possible. And that is something that a technological platform can enable. So, additional to simplifying, streamlining supply chains, it can actually help reduce costs. But we believe that the tools that we've actually developed at e-Debit are good tools that can help manage supply chains, that can help in terms of virtual purchasing programs, that can help in these ways. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about virtual purchasing programs. But I'm also going to talk about why I believe that the attitude that e-Debit approaches represents the future of virtual purchasing. And that's why we have a slogan, the future of virtual purchasing. And I need to explain why we actually break that. Okay, so just talking about virtual purchasing. Virtual purchasing can mean shorter purchasing cycles. It can actually mean synchronization of supply chains. It can mean that electronic data invoice data is provided. It can simplify reporting, streamline the payments process. And there's lots of things it can do. But also it can actually centralize the actual payments, so that payments can be made from a centralized source, and that can make life a lot easier. Now this is where the banks come in, because banks are very, very important in this process, because without banks, commerce couldn't happen. Without banks, trading couldn't happen. And that's why the e-Debit online program, online admin program, virtual purchasing program, could not function without involve the online management of NCGA economic communities. But I started by saying that virtual purchasing is the future. And the approach of e-Debit is that what we have to do is bring all the different players together under one network. I've lost my presentation. This is sabotage. So I'll just carry on while No, I'm going to move on to it. I'm sorry, I don't want to bore you, but I'm going to move on to this, and hopefully it won't be too much more. But as I said, all of these things, it doesn't matter what you have, it doesn't matter what the technology does. Okay, it doesn't matter what the technology does. In reality, if there's no business, you can have all the technology in the world. If you don't have the business, then your technology is just there, sitting, sleeping, doing nothing. What facilitates business is funding. And this is why e-Debit believes that our approach is indeed the future of virtual purchasing. Because our approach is to make sure that all the tools are there. Our approach is to make sure that the infrastructure is there. But our approach is also to involve the funders. Because it's the funders who put the oil that enables this whole thing to happen. Without the funding, there's no business. So this is the e-Debit approach, and why we think the e-Debit approach is indeed the future of virtual purchasing. One that integrates suppliers, intermediaries, consumers, and funders. Okay. So having said all that, I'm now going to move to my presentation, which I won't. Okay. Right. So, e-Debit is actually assisting with the coordination and funding of the NCGFI Ethanol program. And the e-Debit service will be used for disbursement and administration of funds received. The e-Debit mobile payment service will be used to make and receive payments by NCGA members and economic communities. It will be disbursed payments and loans received from partners and supporters of NCGA that have been arranged through e-Debit. So much of this stuff I don't want to go through because you can read it yourself. And I don't just want to be just reading and reading and reading and you guys go to sleep. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is I want to make tangible points. And I want to make a tangible point that change is coming and all you people here can help that change. And it's change that can really, really transform this country. Really, you know. And I'm so pleased and so happy that there's all these different stakeholders here. And all the banks here, you know. The partnership program with Union Bank is structured in such a way. It's structured in such a way that although Union Bank is a lead bank, you can actually introduce your own customers to the program. And so you bring your customers to an economic community of 2 million members. You know, the supply chains, I mean, if you think about it, 2 million people is a lot of people. You know, 2 million users is a lot. And they have needs for supply, they have needs to buy things, they have needs to sell things, they need partners. And you know, if you have a customer who is actually in the Cassava industry, or not just the Cassava industry, in supplying to the Cassava industry, you know, because you know, we talk about supply chains, we talk about needs, lots of different things. Your customers can be a part of this. And you join as you join the actual program, you can introduce your customers to the program, and obviously, you know, make your fees, make your charges, and it can work well for you as an organisation, work well for your customers. And just because Union Bank is the lead bank, they're actually coordinating the process, but you can actually bring your customers too, and it can actually work really well. And it can obviously help expand the program, and that's what's really a typical concern. Sorry. Right, again, as I said, I don't want to talk too much longer, but vertical integration is what I've talked about with the... Yeah. Okay. So vertical integration is where the primary producers own part of the processing, and that's what's happening here.